We then get a hype video for the next match, mixed tag team match between Mero and Sable against Goldust and Luna. It documents Mero's jealousy of Sable, who was getting huge pops all the time, massively popular. Then Mero attempting to get help from Goldust and Luna to sort of bring the attention back to him. Sable and Luna, though, falling out as part of that, and Goldust trying to stop Sable, and then Mero objecting to Goldust stopping Sable, and therefore coming to blows with him. Even a moment of Vince Russo in this video package is actually on screen at one point, which leads us to Marc Mero and Sable versus Goldust and Luna Vachon, a 9-minute contest, mixed tag team match, as I say, which is won by Sable and Mero when Sable hits a TKO on Luna and gets the pin. I'm going to go first on this one, and I'm going to say something hideously controversial. Match of the night, easily match of the night. Absolutely sensational match. This is absolutely sensational. For a match where you've got Sable, who has never had a professional wrestling match in her entire life, Mero and Goldust, who by this point, Goldust was deep into his substance abuse, really no real value to anyone, and Mero, who had got injured end of 96 and it had basically taken 3 steps out of his ability to wrestle. This is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal match. The crowd eat every second of it up. They've had an amazing story. Not an amazing story. They've had a decent story building up to it, which makes sense. It's been featured every week on Raw for about 3 or 4 months building up to this. I just thought this blew me away, genuinely. Sable looked every bit a superstar in this, as big as any act bar Austin on the entire show, quite frankly. And she was, and again, much like China, a hugely underrated factor in WWE turning around the Monday Night War. Regardless of what you think of her, regardless of her talent, regardless of anything else, she was absolutely key to WWF winning the Monday Night Reigns War. Only Austin and The Rock, in my view, were more important than Sable and China ultimately on this road. Maybe controversial, but that's how I feel about it. Matt, what did you make of it?
I didn't like it quite as much as you, but I was pleasantly surprised. This was actually pretty good. You know, it did completely surprise me to learn that this was Sable's first match ever. And you know what? Bravo for that, because as far as debuts go, that's pretty bloody good. You know, she could have done a hell of a lot worse. So fair play to her for that. It was a lesson for me in sort of learning how really over Sable was at the time. Now, you know, again, as I've said on the pod many times, you know, I started watching in 2001. So my sort of first interaction of being able to see Sable in WWE was when she made a return in 2003, I believe it was. So I didn't understand when she came back. I didn't get it. I was like, you know, who the hell is this? They explained, I was like, okay, all right, whatever, somebody from the past, blah, blah, blah. But then when you go back and watch this, you're absolutely right. I mean, bloody hell was she over. I mean, the pop that she got for hitting a power bomb, which, wow. I mean, the crowd was super into her as a star, and she felt like a big deal. So fair play. Like I said, this you know, again, this stuck out for me in a good way on this show. This was actually pretty bloody enjoyable, gotta say. Applause to all of them.
Which way am I going here? This was absolutely fantastic. This is my match of the night. It was so good. And before the match, the video package, and this is the kind of Maury Povich, Jerry Springer one. We had Michael Cole on the voiceover, and it was unintentionally hilarious. Some of the key, he described Sable as young, kind, beautiful, and in love. And WrestleMania's battle of Beauty and the Beast will determine Sable's life, love, and future. Wow, just absolutely brilliant. Speaking of things that were brilliant, Luna had a tongue piercing, big fan of those. And also to say that the crowd was pumped for anything that Sable did would be quite the understatement. They absolutely erupted when she hit kind of a switching music style thing on Goldust early on, and then they went berserk when she took Luna down. And I have to give her a due. She just had something, didn't she? Natural charisma or whatever it was. And they just loved it. They ate it up. We even got a Mr. Wrestling 2 call out during this after a Mero knee lift. And Mero was channeling some early Johnny B. Bad in this. Like we talked about the WCW pay-per-views from kind of a little bit before this, and you get like Johnny B. Bad in the opener or the second match, and it'd be 18 minutes of brilliance. You're like, this guy was so good. And I didn't have a you know, I remember Sable getting over in this match, but I had no idea this was, you know, a forgotten classic on WrestleMania 14. Now, Matt, I've got one final thing to say, which you might want to put earmuffs on for, because it's your favourite world-renowned feminist of mine wrote the following about this match. the silicon-laden pin-up wife of Marc Mero, put in the ring as a participant for the first time, was the true show stealer, doing a wide variety of karate kicks that looked better than several WCW wrestlers whose gimmicks were originally supposed to be as martial artists. So there you go. He had to do a little bit of a dig about the cosmetic surgery, but then gave us some props, which is nice.
That is nice. That is nice.
Yeah, lovely.
I feel vindicated by that, Stephen. And I what it reminded me of a little bit as well, and I'll have to go eventually, we'll get to this match, but it also reminded me of the match where Triple H and Stephanie fought Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle.
That's a great shout.
Because again, it's similar, like Kurt Angle well past his best done, Triple H well past his best done, Stephanie never really a wrestler, and Ronda Rousey in one of her first ever matches, like hiding the limitations and, you know, really like magnifying the good stuff, and they really did. And this wasn't the only time, like the SummerSlam 98 match that's also a mixed tag match, which is Edge and Sable against Marc Mero and Jacqueline, is Sable gets similarly massive reaction to her there, and she does a powerbomb on Mero and a hurricane run off the top rope on Jacqueline. Oh, or maybe Mero, actually, I can't remember now. Again, in terms of absolutely making her look like a superstar, they really did. And this is also, Sable's the reason why they brought back the women's title. They would never have done it without Sable, but they did because they were like, well, we need a vehicle for her, and that's the women's title. Now, of course, it never worked out, and Sable herself kind of perhaps overvalued. Well, no, I don't think she did overvalue, but she perhaps was in a company at the time that would not have accepted the demands that she made for a woman, which is bad to say, but I think that's true. But I don't think she overplayed her hand. I think she was right. She was one of the biggest attractions in the company. Ultimately, they were willing to pay her what she wanted, and she left. But this year in particular, she was humongous as a star, just humongous.
Wasn't her Playboy one of the either the biggest, probably certainly top three, I think, biggest selling Playboys ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. And again, that was a new that was the other thing that she introduced, which WWE did for years and years after that point, which was the Playboy tie-in.